Hello, everyone. So you've received the memo stating that we're making the much requested change from districts to have all services only students lie inside of School 4999 instead of being enrolled at zoned elementary schools. I know this was highly requested by many districts across the state to just make it easier for management of these students and have them in one location. Plus, it would also allow those elementary schools to be able to pull true reports on students who were enrolled in present bodies at their school and not have these students' data be calculated in those internal PowerSchool reports. So I know it was a highly requested item. So what do we need to do now as districts to prep for this? Because all of these students that, as you're going through, and everybody in the state right now is getting ready for the end of year, so you're marking every student's next school year and next school that they'll go to, because in the end of year process it'll move them up to the next grade level and it'll move them to the newest school that they're going to. So some districts have started that process and some have not started yet. So how do you get that corrected? Because these students that you probably have their next school coming back into their elementary school just needs that school swapped over to school 4999 now. So what am I talking about with that? Let's go to my PK3 students. So remember, PK4 is grade level -1, PK3 is grade level -2, and then our -3 students. Now, what are those age levels on those students? In our data code manual, you'll see, our -3 grade level are our 2-year-old services students. Our -2 grade level is our 3-year-old services students. And then our -1 grade level are our 4-year-old services students and your traditional pre-K students. So we'll talk about that -1 grade level, but let's talk about our 2 and 3-year-olds that we know are all going to roll up to their next grade and all going to be moved into 4999. So it's really easy, and I'm going to pull up some of my PK3 students, and let's just go in here to Mr. Barnes. So PK3 means that the student is a grade level -2. So in the end of year process, I want to progress him up 1 year, so I'm moving him to -1. And right now he is scheduled to be re-enrolled back into the elementary school because that's the rule that had previously been in place. They're in their zone schools. So what we need to say now is that their next school is going to be 4999 and hit save. So that's the change that we've got to make on all the pre-K special ed services only. So again, this does not refer to your traditional pre-K classes. If you do a local pre-K or a first class pre-K, these are not those students. Those students still stay enrolled in whatever school you have that program in that you've been running in PowerSchool. These are only your services students that come for their scheduled service time of speech, vision, hearing, OT, PT, just those students. So if you are a district that's in the process of making those changes now, getting ready for end of year, that's all you need to do is make sure you have the correct next school indicator on those students. If you've already done your input and you're like, oh, well, I'm ready for end of year, so I need to change this, how do I go and do it all at one time? What do I have to go kid by kid? And of course, you do not have to go student by student inside of PowerSchool. So you can grab all the students at one time. So I want to walk you through how to do that. So I'm going to clear this search that I have right here. Now you can do it grade level at a time. I'll show you a couple of options. So if I wanted to grab all of my PK3 students, now I know my PK3 students are all going to be in there. So I have these 4 students. I know they all are going to need to go to 4999, and right now I have them all at their schools. So inside of group functions, one of the things that you can do when you scroll down, and I've got it highlighted right here, is this student field value. Most people in PowerSchool are very familiar with this, where you can change one field at the whole entire swath. So I can change on these 4 students, whether it's 4 or 400, I can do it all at one time. The field that we need to change is the next school field. And if you don't know what it is, you can always come over here to the fields screen and type in next and see, oh, it's next underscore school. So sometimes it's good to just click on that so you get the field name correct. What's the new value? I need it to be school 4999. So that is our, it has been in the past our private school services only kids, but now we're making it all services students inside of there. And you hit submit, and it's going to say these are the old schools. Are you sure you want to change it to 49.99? Now notice I had 4 students in my selection. It says 4 selected, but only 3 students are in the list to change. When it does student field value, if it sees the student already has this value, like the one I just manually changed, it will not go through and process a change because it knows there's no need to. So don't be alarmed if you have fewer students in this list than up here if you've already made some manual changes. But you hit submit one more time, and that's it. That takes care of it, and it updates that one field. So now when you process the end of year rollover, all of those students will move to school 49.99. Now you can grab more than one student at a time. So if you know you need all of your -3 grades, -2 grades, -1 grades, you can do this advanced. But I don't know how many people have done this before, but you can choose multiple things here. So I can say, hey, grab my -3 students. Well, I don't have any. I have my negative 2 students, so I have 4, and then say, hey, add my -1 student. So now I have 17 students. If all of these are services only kids, then I can set this to my current selection. Now, the one thing that you do have to check, and you can do this at the district level, as you see, I can be the one person to change this whole district. You can do it school by school. It's your choice as a district how you want to do this. If you do run traditional pre-K classes, so your first class in local pre-Ks, again, we don't want those students to be moved. So if you get students roped in here who are your traditional pre-K, and you're like, oh, no, this is a class of, we have a small class of 20 pre-K students, you can just uncheck and say, no, those don't need to be a part of this move. Only these up here are my services only students. And I can set that as my current selection. So now I have those students selected. Again, I can go to student field value. I can do next underscore school, or I can do the field change. I do 49.99. I hit submit. 13 students. I'm going to move it from their elementary schools to the new school and hit submit. So it's a very easy change if you want to do this before end of year. And for my suggestion, I would highly recommend doing that. That way you don't have to worry about it. Other things to consider, one other move, and you have all summer to do this, is just make sure now at this point you'll want your services employees. They probably already have access to 49.99 because you service your private school students in there. They'll just need to have their schedules mocked up inside of there. So if you've started working on master scheduling for next year, move the master schedule over. But if anybody has any questions on that, feel free to reach out. But this is the only thing that would be of time sensitive nature. Very quick and easy 5-minute fix of get those students on there. But if you have questions about it, please reach out and I will assist you in these changes. Thank you.